Hey guys, Major Frenchie, welcome. Before I started wiring everything and doing the tutorials on the Pinscape all-in-one, what I wanted to do is just to show a quick video of all parts that I'm going to use. Now guys, there won't be a list of where I got all this stuff. I mean, I got some of the stuff on during the build of my first pinball. So there is actually a link that I'm going to put, which is like a generic kind of part list. But yeah, I mean, most of them you can just kind of Google them. I found most of my stuff on Amazon. So here we are. So let's just start with the contactors that I'm going to use. I'm going to use 10 of them. I kind of placed them temporarily right now. They're going to be on the side of the cab. So these are Simmons 24 volts contactor. I got, actually some of them, I used to have 10, some of them blown. So I got 6 right now, and I've got another brand that I'm using for the back, which is, but they kind of all work the same, guys. Some of the noise is a bit different. So for example, for my flippers, I use these little guys, and they sound not as loud, but they are just perfect for sounds of flippers. I don't want the flippers to be as loud, so that's what I'm using. I'm going just to use regular, they're 120 millimeter fans. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna drill a hole here because this slides, so I just want the airflow to be quite good. So there's gonna be one here, there's gonna be one at the back, and there's gonna be also one at the bottom here. For the back box, I'm not too concerned. For the computer, it was my ASRock motherboard that I've built. It's an AMD motherboard. It's kind of a smaller form factor, which is perfect. And I will have it mounted with little screws right here, so it's not going to move. I got 16 gigs of RAM. I've got the processor is like a 2700. And I've got super duper video card. This is the Radeon Vega 64. It's pretty good. It's the equivalent of, if you're familiar with NVIDIA, it's the equivalent to a 1080. That's probably where you're going to spend most of your money. Even though you don't need to go super crazy, but I just wanted to have enough horsepower so I don't have to upgrade that when better tables are coming out. I'm going to use, this is the beautiful Oak Micros all-in-one Pinscape board. And I'm going to have a full tutorial on that, on how to connect everything on it. It's built in with the KL25Z, which is the open source board, right? It's being used for many, many projects. And it has MUFSET built in, so I'm going to do a full tutorial on that. And that replaces, guys, the LED Wiz. That replaces the Saint Smart board. Also, I'm going to use the Oak Micros fuse board. So I'm going to have 16 fuse on here. They're fast-blowing fuse that I'm going to use. And each device, I'm not going to use that for LEDs. It's only going to be for high-power tools, which I'm going to show you next, like the shaker, and then the gear, and so on. And the solenoids, right? The contactors are all going to connect here just to protect the devices. Here, it's actually kind of standard, right? Just regular backlit buttons that I'm going to wire up. I'm going to add some, I guess, text in here for exit. And here's gonna, I don't know, it's probably extra ball or something. And here, I kind of built my own launch. I used to have the big one. I don't like it. I didn't like the look. It was too big. I had to move this lower because if you put it too high, the screen, it hits the screen. So that's how I managed to get my real plunger here. I'm gonna show you, I'm using the Oak Micro plunger kit, which is kind of nice. And here's my start button. And here's the little USB port. I was going to use this, right, for the cable management, but some people mentioned go with Penduit, or at least I think you called it that way. I'm going to show you a picture right now of what I've ordered, and I'm going to have those all around the edges of the cab for easy and nice wire management. So at the back here, Well, I haven't started my wiring, right? So it's just kind of empty right now. So this is the board I've actually designed. I call it the LED bar management board. And you guys can still, I don't sell it anymore, but I've made this open source. So you can actually download the code, get it printed, and just use the parts to assemble it. And basically what that is, it's like a really, it's like a ceramic fuse, and it takes the input from your LEDs, your flash bar LEDs, and it outputs them to the Pinscape or the LED Whiz or whatever, and it's protected, and it works really, really well. I'm gonna have a knocker right here. The knocker is going to be powered by a 48-volt power supply, which is going to be independent from all other power supply. And this is really, really loud. And it's a good addition to your cab. Okay, let's get started on all the other stuff that is actually going to go in this cab. So let's just start with the power supply. I've got a 5-volt, I've got a 12-volt, and I've got a 24-volt. Really, if you're going to put addressable LEDs on your cab, I guess the most amps you're going to need is really for the 5-volt addressable LEDs. I mean, the other one, they're important, but it's rare that they all run at the same time. And typically, I'm going to use like a 10 amp is sufficient for the 24 and the 12. Tons of these guys. I'm actually going to put them at every corner of my cab. I have a ground in every corner, so all ground will be connected together, so I don't have to run unnecessary wire. So I'm going to have that on every corner of the cab, in the back, underneath, and I'm going to have 3 other ones, which is going to be 5, 12, and 24 volts. So I'm going to have quite a few of those, but I order a lot of them, and they're cheap, and they work really well. Here we got this is the Stern shaker motor. It's actually a very nice and powerful shaker motor. Here's the gear motor. The gear motor is actually just, this one's a electric power window gear motor. You can get a windshield wiper gear motor. It works really well as well. So this is a good addition. This is the fan that was in my old build before I took it apart. This works really well. Inline blower. This one is 12 volts. Here's the model. Here's the, it's just like the protector, the grill for all the fans that I'm going to install. I got all of them here in that little bag. Well, they're 12 volts and they're LEDs, so they're going to be different colors, so that's kind of cool. Here is going to be the surround sound feedback. Got the 4 exciter speakers. Had videos on that already if you guys want to watch them. And these are the 2 little amps that are controlling basically the speakers. I got a little board that I've designed. It's nothing fancy. It's just like a night mode little board where I've got, I'm going to have all the contactors and the knocker connected here. Basically the power going to them. And if I don't want to use them, all I do is push that. And if it's pushed, night mode is on. Got this chime unit, very nice. This was actually, I'm so happy. This was a gift from Moxie and JSUF from our Discord chat group, and they basically sent that to me as a surprise. I was very surprised, and I'm actually really looking forward to get this installed in the cab, and that's going to be a really, really good addition to my cab. Here's the Oak Micros Pinscape board for the plunger that I was talking about earlier, and it's actually very well done. Just like, see the wirings right here. This goes in the cab, and this is the potentiometer that will go. And so basically the plunger will connect to this right here, and that's how it's going to move and send the signal to the Pinscape all-in-one to move the plunger in the table. One addition that actually I didn't have in my cab that I decided to put on, it's a tilt, a real tilt basically device that it's going to be, I'm going to have a tutorial for that, guys, but it's basically this, and then when you push the table, right? It touches the metal here, and it sends a signal for a real tilt. So you're going to get the tilt warning, and then if you actually keep going, you're going to tilt your table. Then we have tons of wire. I'm going to have actually even additional wire because everything's going to be color coded. 5 volt is going to be green, 12 volt is going to be red, ground is going to be black, and 24 volt is going to be yellow. And I may have one additional, which is going to be purple. It's going to be for my 48 volt power supply. The last thing is the monitor. It's actually, I had such a hell of a hard time with my monitors. I had the worst luck ever. I broke two 4K screen that I broke because I removed the bezel, and by removal of the bezel, you're taking chances. So what I did is I ended up just using a router just to route some of the wood in the pinball cab so it actually fits right in. So no more removal of the bezel for me. I would personally highly recommend that if you can route a channel on your pin cab, it's going to be much cheaper than replacing a 4K monitor. So this is the 4K monitor that I got. It's an Element. It's well, Roku TV. I don't really care, but it's a 40-inch Ultra HD, and it's 60 hertz, which actually going to be good because it will prevent some lag on the tables. Okay, last part of this is going to be the addressable LEDs. I got strips of addressable LEDs, 144 LEDs per meter. They are actually really good. If you're going to put addressable LED guys on beside the monitor, go with those. Don't buy the 60 per meter. Don't be cheap. Like, you will regret it. Get those, and they work really, really well. For the dot matrix, I had one already, but I decided, well, I'll just go for another one. I'm going to rebuild one. But I'm going to use, this is the pre-built 256 addressable LED matrix. It's flexible and it's very easy to connect. It has these 3 wires, one's male, one's female, and then you can plug one onto the next one, and they communicate that way. And so I'm going to basically add width to my matrix, and it's going to be, well, it's going to be a bit wider. It should be beautiful. And lastly, this is going to be the DMD, right? I'm using the regular LCD monitor, but I have the speaker grill, right, which is going to be, well, sitting like this. People have seen little LEDs inside the speaker grill, so that's what I had before, and it works really well. But what I decided to do is I got different sizes of LEDs. Look at this. So I will have that probably mounted on a piece of plexiglass, and I will install that inside the speaker grill, and it will just look like this. And I'm going to probably try to assign different patterns to the different rings. So different rings, I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to play with that. So stay tuned when I install this. I'm also going to get a tutorial, so that should be interesting. That's it, guys. There are a lot of components. I mean, I would suggest don't go crazy to start with. Don't buy all that stuff because you're going to go bankrupt. I actually spent quite a bit. I think I'm about $6,000 into this build, but it's my third one. I took one apart and kind of reused the parts. So I'm suggesting when you're building your cab, wire management and the setup of your components is key, okay? You will not overthink that. You have to overthink it, because especially if you're going to start with a minimal setup and then you want to expand over time, well, think ahead of time. Set your components that way. So when you install new components, you don't have to do all the rewiring, right? So thank you for watching, guys. By the way, we got 2 things. If you want to chat with us, we're on Discord. We got over 500 members now. It's growing like crazy, and it's a friendly environment, guys. We do not allow people to be toxic on there. If they are toxic or create chaos, we kick them out. We don't want that nonsense bullshit going on. We just there to share our passion, share tricks, And that's what our Discord's all about. Also, we have the virtual pinball wiki that we just launched. It's an open source project. You guys are welcome to join in. The link is in this description below. And sign up if you wish. You don't need an account, but sign up if you wish to contribute, create pages, and make that wiki our wiki.